And with that, we are
no.
live.
Oh no, it's on you again. You stole my model.
How can you tell?
Look.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
I just got it on. Stop it. I just had it on me.
There's back on you.
Well, this is quite a lineup at the table.
Oh.
All at one of those fancy movie bars.
Mm.
Actually, this would be a great movie bar film.
Are there actual movie bars?
Yeah, there's like whatchamacallit, Roadhouse, right?
Texas Roadhouse?
No, not Texas Roadhouse.
No, Roadhouse Cinema.
Roadhouse, that's the one. Isn't that one where it's set up more like a bar restaurant type deal, where like they show a movie?
Huh.
So they've got seats and then those like fold out tables, sort of like you used to have on desks. And there's a button to call a server, and you can order food and drinks while you're watching the film.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there are a number of bars like that. Actually, funny story. So I happened to be single a few on the year on St. Valentine's Day when the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie released. Around that time, and so me and I had this wonderful idea. I was like, well, me and some of the bros are single. Miliardo was not. He and Bread Wife had quite happily started their family at that point. But anyway, me and some bros were just like, guys, what if we just went and saw Sonic the Hedgehog on St. Valentine's Day? And so we did as a bro squad. And then because it was St. Valentine's Day and everybody was buying tickets to everything, we managed to. I think one of us had become late. I think there was a deer or something, and so we had to switch the tickets that we'd had. And we were like, well, these are more expensive tickets that we're looking at as the only ones that are available. But you know. Well, we're not going to get another shot at the dankness on this auspicious day. So you know what? Let's just go for it as a one-time thing. And none of us realized at the time that was the VIP experience in like the plush theater that they'd set aside, where you can like order meals and you get complimentary popcorn and a waitress and everything. So yeah, on a St. Valentine's Day, instead of going with a date, me and some bros just like had the elite client experience watching freaking Sonic the Hedgehog.
Of all the movies to watch.
Yeah.
We had pretty good seats for Sonic 3. Not quite as plush, but they did recline.
I think that's every theater these days.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying your reading, dear?
I'm trying to make sure you don't steal it.
I was grousing to these two about this last night, how every theater these days, it feels like it plays 30 minutes of trailers before the movie starts.
Has it not always been that way?
It's gotten worse and worse. And then now there's that creepy thing where Nicole Kidman talks about going to the movies like it's a religious experience.
Really?
Yeah.
I think some theaters have started actually advertising that there will be 30 minutes of trailers at the show.
And usually, if I'm going to the theaters, I have plans after for like dinner or something with the family or whoever I'm going with.
That's surprising.
So when the movie says that it starts at 1 o'clock and it's a 2.5-hour runtime already, and that's another thing. Why are films so long these days?
Well, you're in luck. The one we're about to watch is only 1 hour.
But
you will wish it was twice that long.
When a film says it starts at 12 o'clock, it should start at 12 o'clock. And if it doesn't, the projectionist should be flogged.
That is crazy that they...
And here, audience, you shall see arrayed in stocks around the box office.
Now let's explain...
Tardy projectionists.
Why excruciation would be valid in this circumstance.
Either that movie starts on time or you get the revolutionary.
No. Oh, now I'm
Okay,
thinking
let's
about
not
Book of the
go
New Sun.
that far.
Yes, tonight's entertainment is 60 minutes of cel-shaded goodness with the finest voice acting that the English dubbing scene at the time could offer.
Hmm.
Which, surprise, surprise, lots of people with background in theater.
Have we introduced everyone on stream yet?
Oh yes,
There's me. Hi.
there's Minna Vanilla, my lovely wife. And then we have Martel and Squirrel, our usual panelists, and then we're also
What's
joined by
up?
Uncouth T-Rex, who has been on and off stream a couple times.
Yee.
He has
I
existed,
think
and he does continue to exist.
Kuro Automatic says think a man in India successfully sued a theater for playing too many ads.
Good.
Nice.
When was the last
The
movie I
only
saw in theaters?
the only time too many ads is acceptable in a film is if they're excellently timed breaks, and they're all narrated by the narrator from Who Killed Captain Alex.
Oh yes. Okay, now here's an idea. For these really long films, what if they play the ads in the middle so everyone can go to the bathroom?
They
I
Like
was
a
do
about
that.
to say
classic.
they need to start putting intermissions back in films.
I was about to say classic intermissions. I remember like the Chee Chee Bang Bang VHS we have. They have an intermission in the middle of it.
That one's not even terribly long.
No.
That, especially not by modern standards.
Yeah.
That one
What
fits
is-
on a single VHS tape.
What is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang even?
You
Oh?
don't know?
Oh?
I've heard the movie name multiple times.
So
and I know it's an older film.
imagine Ian Fleming wrote a children's book, like James Bond Ian Fleming.
We need to do another watch along. And you
Yeah,
haven't seen
I-
Space Jam, have you?
No, we watched that like a year or two ago.
We've watched Space Jam?
We have watched Space Jam.
I don't
Come on,
remember this.
Jam.
I remember
Great.
because you're like, you haven't seen Space Jam?
But
You
when
should."
did we watch it?
I don't remember, but I know we watched it.
Okay, if you say so. But I can't believe Uncouth T-Rex doesn't know Chee Chee Bang Bang. It's fabulous. So good. Next watch along. Anyways. Oh, I should check if my milk's done.
Speaking of, though, just real quick on the film side of things, the film that I saw was F1, the movie about Formula One featuring Brad Pitt.
Oh, how
I can
was
recommend it. It's quite good, actually. It's a simple, straightforward racing film. It knows what it wants to be. It does it. It's about the race. And there's the whole dynamic of, older, experienced guy, but a has-been, and then young, hot shot with talent, but no maturity.
It's Top Gun with cars.
Basically, yeah. And it does a good job of showing the cars, the just technical perfection that goes into F1, the incredible stress that the bodies are put under with all of the tight turns. And I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but I saw a figure of the G-forces that F1 drivers are subjected to in some of those turns. And it's on the level of a fighter pilot, and all of that G-force is going straight to the neck.
I was gonna
That
say,
sounds
do
like
they have like G pants or G suit or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've got a full-on rig. They've got head braces. They've got neck braces. And even so, it's a lot.
Are they able to drink at all during the race? I guess only at pit stops, or I have to imagine you probably sweat a bunch too.
Probably.
Yeah, I tried messing around with one of my in-laws racing sims once, and it was you have to like know the turns very well to be able to take them at any kind of speed.
Too bad I didn't get a chance to really try out one of my brother's driving sims. They're very hot. Let them cool down.
Oh, you were making hot cocoa.
Yeah.
I was wondering how chocolate milk could be not ready.
Oh, I was melting it. I had some blocks of chocolate. I was melting them in milk.
So wait, so is that chocolate milk or hot cocoa?
Yes.
Thank you for making
It's not
Ovaltine
the
here.
difference.
It's not Ovaltine. It was chunks of chocolate.
I mean, so theoretically, it would just be hot chocolate. Well,
What's the
hold
difference?
on. So I feel like hot cocoa. Well, actually, here's the I think the important distinction. What kind of chunks of chocolate did you melt in it?
Chocolate that's meant for melting into a drink. The cinnamon chocolate.
Okay, that's probably hot cocoa then. Although, unless you want to make the distinction of hot cocoa only comes from using cocoa powder.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I like it hot. I like it chocolate. I like it milk.
I think we're enough centuries
Yeah.
removed from the Spanish that we can call it what we want.
We're Americans.
I mean, like we could. I mean, if we're getting really hardcore here, we could be like, well, it has to be a certain level of sweetness, otherwise it becomes cacao.
Look, if you didn't fight an Aztec personally and take it from him, doesn't count.
Hey, you know.
Movies.
All right. Okay, so tonight's entertainment, Appleseed, 1988 OVA, very, very loosely based off of the actual comic by Shiro Masamune, also known for his work on Ghost in the Shell.
I thought I recognized that name.
Which also, Ghost in the Shell is also a somewhat loose adaptation of the original comic, so he seems to make a lot of good comics that other people take and go, I like some of what you're doing here, and I want to do my own thing with it too. And then they go and make good movies with it. So
There you go.
there's
Funny
been
story.
several Appleseed adaptations made since that seem to be closer to the actual plot of the comics, such as actually having like what the Appleseed is. This movie is more about the adventures of Johnny Appleseed, terrorist, and the police that have to stop him.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
How about them apples?
And
Funny
yeah,
story.
and
Go ahead.
enjoy the dub.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think the link is in chat there for anyone that wants it. I think everyone's had enough time to get their setup. We got the timer in the upper right hand corner. What are you doing?
You were skinwalking. I'm trying to get my
Body
body
back.
back. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's get this thing pulled up. That is my settings menu. And anyone in chat, let me know if you hear audio bleeding over. I think we've rigged up the mic distance and sensitivity enough that it shouldn't pick up any bleed over. And the one downside to this version of it that we found, which if you're it's also available free on Amazon Prime right now. If you're watching it on there, it subtitles the word crawl at the beginning. If you're not, what the word crawl at the beginning is going to say is big nuclear war, massive depopulation as a result. So mankind has now built itself these new cities that are utopias in the wasteland and basically achieved a certain level of post-scarcity so that like all your needs are basically met living in these cities. And in order to help with repopulation, they've also decided to start making like half android people to populate the cities with. But there's more people now.
Does it just make everyone feel better?
Which half?
Morale box?
They seem to be sort of like not replicants, but like it's not real specific on like if they're mechanical or if they're just calling them androids, but they're just like vat-grown humans or something. So I'm going with like pseudo replicant-ish, especially in the comics where it goes into more detail on them. And the major distinction is that The Appleseed in the comics is basically the missing part of their programming that would actually allow them to like reproduce themselves instead of being grown in vats.
Mhm.
That is beyond the scope of this film.
Hi, my name is Johnny Appleseed. I'm a terrorist and the collective libido of a race of people.
We'll soon
not
find
a
out
way
how
to
correct you
summarize it.
may or may not be. Also, good morning,
boy.
long 74125 _.
Hello, Long.
All right, everybody got it pulled up?
Ready to go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's a bird. She's married.
Do you think that bird's symbolic?
Oh. Well, she likes birds. I'm a bird too. Whee!
Fly away, little bird, fly away.
So did that happen and it's a nightmare, or is that what he's scared of? Must have already happened.
And you laughed.
She wanted to be free like a bird. Free bird! Now I'm free!
Free
Free
falling.
falling! I
This is why I can't take you to the theater.
don't do this in the theater. Well, that's a
This is a
traumatic
serious
beginning.
movie for serious people.
So
There's
serious.
nukes, there's robots,
Ooh.
there's birds.
There's suicide.
Soundtrack is bumping.
Mm.
It's the Bass Pro Shop of the future.
Yeah.
This actually takes place in Tennessee.
Low ride in car.
Wait, really?
Canon now.
They all need to have southern accents.
Which is why you had not loaded your weapon until now.
Very Tokyo-esque with the bushes on the building. How did the radio waves push the buttons? Oh my goodness. Well, they were ready. Oh, that one looks cool. Whoop, the big guy.
Rescue did
Fun
confirm
fact.
they are a couple.
Fun fact, his little like things can flap and he can fly with it.
Wait, who's the couple? Blonde chick and the big guy?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Imagine having a giant buff husband and not being able to actually kiss him because his head is a camera.
Some people are into that.
It's the future, okay? Look, they've got Gorilla Men.
It is
Hey,
Tennessee.
yeah, this is Tennessee.
Really going heavy on the swears.
Oh, you have. Just wait.
Oh, it gets better.
I guess compared to modern sensitivities.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases where it actually elevates the source material.
The big guy reminds me of the guy with the gun as a head. We never finished that one.
Oh, No Guns Life.
Mhm.
This is like Team Rocket with swears.
That actually describes Shiro Masamune's work pretty well. Ghost in the Shell, the comic, is like R-rated Astro Boy.
Wow. Already burned. Oh, they got a little mustache on the door. So is he an android guy? Looks like it.
Yeah.
Mm. I want that with the villager sound effect.
Hmm.
Hmm. Oof.
Let's scar these kids for life, why don't we?
Are those actual kids or just they don't are they young adults? They seem like adults. I want to keep your back turned. I was right.
He activated the death flag.
Okay, there are some kids. He is huge. Oh no. Oh, grenade.
Yeah, quick reaction. That's what those camera eyes are for.
He's got droopy ears.
You know, I appreciate the fast reaction there instead of just sitting around waiting for the tragic explosion.
Mm.
This guy played Call of Duty.
This guy is Call of Duty. I feel like the movements look like they're in slow motion, like grabbing the grenade and her what's it? Hairband. The movements feel like in slow motion. Be hot. Very hot. Gotta let it cool down.
Ugh.
Oh.
He's all bastard.
Wow. It's so dry. Wow, it's voice acting. He's very, very Tennessee. No floppy ears. I wonder what his little ear things are for.
The keyboard says keyboard on it.
It does.
All the better to hear you with.
Wonder what Gaia is.
Oh, it's the supercomputer that runs the city.
Oh, dang. Wow, she holds a grudge.
I love the straightforward character motivations.
Oh, it's
All the Bass
pyramids.
Pro Shops.
Oh, another character?
It's the heiress of Bass Pro. CH46, my beloved.
That's an interesting dome. Is that the supercomputer?
Mm. Right. Rhodes Island's strongest soldier.
I wonder if the flat side of the pyramid-looking things are like they look like mirrors, but are they some sort of like solar panel?
I think they might just be mirrors.
This is like
Get more
Pilot Wings
light in.
music.
That was a whole lot of words I didn't understand.
So you can tell this is actually Japan because they still use fax machines.
Oh, yeah. She sounds a little xenophobic.
It's really in this year.
Pretty what?
Weird.
I wonder who the police officers were.
Our two heroes.
Who are the heroes?
Bulgaris Hecatonicles.
What is her bra?
Hecatonchire. The 100-handed guys from Greek myth.
Oh, no, I know what they are, but I'm just marveling at the name.
Okay, so who are the two people?
Our heroes.
One is the robot guy?
Yeah.
Wait, he can eat?
He finds it oh, what's the line? What's the line?
No, he
Socially
can actually eat.
he finds it socially useful. Oh, okay.
She is partying hard.
She's basically went out and adopted a group of friends / admirers. The
From the
ultimate
wasteland.
extrovert mission. He's in a frog pose.
Team Rocket Attack.
Last, with these landmate suits, we'll be able to capture Pikachu. I do like the landmate suits. They got the cool, like, arms with an arms thing going on.
She's wasted. Wonder if he's one of the people she brought back. Oh, he's a double agent. Wow,
Here's
she's
Dylan's
wild
penis.
and wild and
Yep.
meanwhile. That was a cool animation for the smoke.
I want formal wear like what Bliera's is wearing. It seems comfortable and sleek.
Like a fancy bathrobe.
Yeah.
He's off. I bet he's got some Eurobeat playing.
It does look like a bathrobe.
So far, we know Mr. Hampson guy is a double agent somehow, and his
Mhm.
sister tried to be a bird.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
didn't
his
work out
sister
so well.
or his wife?
I thought it was sister because of the hair color.
I think it was his wife.
Wait, no.
Because of the ring.
Oh, that would make sense. Why did I think sister?
Because of the hair color.
But they don't have the same hair color. They had the same pants. He had the same color pants as her hair. That's why I thought they were siblings, I think.
Hmm.
Sound
Okay, well
logic.
now I'm sad. That was his wife.
You
Wait,
don't
hold
care about
on.
his sister, but you didn't care about his
I'm just, it's a different dynamic.
Gorillas and helicopters are natural allies.
This is the sequel to Donkey Kong.
I love the detail here. He does the mag check.
I like the music. Very, it almost seems too quiet.
It's letting the boom booms stand on their own.
Surprise! Who did that? He's got nails on his hands. Oh! Oh no! Was there a person in there?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Not anymore.
Oh, it's a trap. Well, yep, it's him. What's he gonna do? What kind of computer is that? Oh, they have a floppy disk? Was that a floppy disk?
This really is the future.
Ooh, the shadows.
It looks like a compact disc inside of a floppy disk
Hmm.
to store more information.
Well, it's like that joke from 30 years from now. What did we use for storage before we had floppy disks?
Oh, they're looking at people.
The cloud.
A lumpos. Metal Gear.
I was gonna say, feels a little like a
Huh?
cross between like a tank and the Scarabs from Halo.
Who did that? Whose side is she on? What'd you think of my hot chocolate?
It was good.
Good, good. Very chocolatey. They must collect the
Insert
spice.
obligatory. They fly now.
I mean, they made a design. They got to show it off. Look, it does a cool leg fold and everything. It looks like a spice thing.
It does.
So somehow all the like background people are in charge and the other people are not happy about it.
Hmm.
It appears to be the case.
Mm-hmm. Poor Tinkun. He was just out for a stroll in the desert. Why do you have to do him like that? Oh, they're showing off their new equipment. Oh, he likes her.
I
They're a
mean, they're
couple.
married, right?
I think so.
It would make sense if they came from the wasteland together. And I guess he's like born human. That's kind of scary.
Clearly,
Yeah.
these people didn't watch Terminator. Or maybe they did.
What caliber was that again?
When you watch the warning and you say yes,
.50 millimeter.
I wonder if that was his wife.
No, that's Hitomi,
Who's
That was
he
the
to
drunk
be?
chick.
the drunk chick.
Mm.
Olympus Police Department.
So she was
He didn't
background.
spell.
Yeah, we have Mount Olympus at home.
I miss highbrow references.
He's the only hairy person. What's memory mean?
Recording a message.
Mm. Who is the shadowy figure?
It was John Government.
Oh, they're buddies.
Wait, did they spell Christopher wrong?
They did.
Falling through the graveyard. He just walked past them. Okay. So sad. No kidding. Just lay it all
Baby
out.
bird.
God, I'm monologuing.
He's giving a society speech.
Trying to think how they filmed this panning shot, like having to plan out like how the background would look 360 and then lay it out flat so you can just like
I missed the last part. What he said.
How long do you think this guy has been practicing this monologue in the shower?
Putting all the budget on this part.
and it was just a single still frame they were rotating.
Aw. It's so cute seeing the kids walking around. What did she
Random
see?
kid in tiger stripe camo.
None of these people are real.
Look into my many camera lenses. That sounded sarcastic. He's got the Goonies. What a smooth talker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He's
He's
really
like, I
letting the
didn't
mask
practice this
slip.
speech.
Potato, potato.
Let's all admire the restraint of the animation team here.
Her hat. Forget the hat. I love the still frame of the people talking in the background. Interesting.
They just put the Parthenon in the front of a building.
They already had the Great Pyramid there. Like, we need more.
Dun, dun. Who dat?
Athena.
Mm. Did she rule this place?
Yeah.
The hologram?
Mm.
What was
Order.
that about? Tennessee! You did it on purpose.
What?
What a language English is.
Yeah.
Oh, the nice jacket.
I feel like as I get
He's gonna be in
fitter,
the
I'm just
car.
gonna like start stealing Blair's fashion. Because like, if
He's
it
holding
works
it.
for one big dude, it could work for another.
They put so much on this scene. This has been like a whole 10 seconds.
That's a good trigger discipline right there.
What?
Wait a minute, hold on.
What are the
They
odds?
did the whole. Oh wait, we're both
He-
cops.
He's just walking away now. This is montage, but trying to corner the guy. Get information. His what?
His phone call.
He wants his phone call.
Ah. She's a vibe. Yeah, it's kind of clear they're a couple.
He's putting on his gooning hands.
His angry eyes.
Oh no. Someone's been watching. Someone was watching through a door somewhere before. Oh, I want that kind of place. Oh, that's
The
pretty
ultimate
sweet.
streaming setup.
I like how it wasn't some big elaborate thing. It's like a tiny little closet.
I have to put my villain hat on.
Look at my tippy toes.
Know that I, General Grievous, will grant you a warrior's death.
Uh-oh.
I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Bay Megatron was partly based off This design.
Yeah.
Well then. Wow, he's so inconspicuous. He's a Karen?
Charon. They all have Greek names.
Oh, I see.
Is he the eponymous John Appleseed?
That's his true name. Or actually, no, it's AJ Sebastian. Appleseed Johnny Sebastian.
A true newlywed.
Audience, this is the wife you should all aspire to.
There's the husband playing with his gear.
Yeah, this is Miliardo streaming over the bed.
That's me.
Yeah.
How'd they get a camera in our living room?
May 23rd.
Right up just a little. Already
You know,
more than halfway. Are these just all his messages?
Wait, Belarus like the Balearic Islands?
Probably.
They make some
'cause-
fantastic slinger mercenaries come from there.
Probably then, because he's supposed to be, like, everyone has like Greek or Greek inspired names.
Is he gonna be dead before they get there?
That was like, we just saw his head exploded.
Really?
Mhm.
I missed the part where his head exploded.
The dude reached through the bar and grabbed his skull with the giant claw hand.
That was him?
Yeah.
But I thought he was trying to call the main police department.
He had been. He kept leaving messages on Polaris's laptop. This is what people say when they want realistic dialogue.
I see.
Who wrote
Down
up the High Elves?
As things to randomly cry out go.
I can't figure out what Tata's missing. We're just gonna visually scan through all of it.
I like the drawer film.
Gus. They've been Gust.
Not the Gus. Oh, it's drippy and
Oh
wet.
no! Not the couple! They're not gonna shoot him?
Ah!
Well, I mean, one of them's a robot. Oh, okay, now he's coming in to try and get them.
Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not their door. Oh, no. They're trying to kidnap her. Did they think they killed the other people then?
Just coming back from Wives R Us.
It's like sleeping Gus.
That seems improbable with that much smoke.
He's also shooting into the ground though, so he's kicking up a bunch of stuff.
Oh, but those look like police guys.
The party patrol's here.
Why are they? But those seem like the police, right? What's going on? Who's who?
That was the police.
Why are they going after those two? What's the one lady with the like frilly pink dress on in the middle of all this? Ooh. Well, that's gonna be a lot more gravestones.
General Kenobi.
Wow. Yeet. Man, really barking up the wrong tree. I mean, wow.
They don't really pull punches.
Nope. Why is there such a crowd? Uh, they got a cool car.
Geez, the guy who gave you the society speech just recently?
Perchance.
Always a good excuse.
But these guys are not Helldivers.
And so I think this is actually an error in translation. I think they're actually sent to assist with the terrorist plot, which explains why they're the worst gunships ever.
So the guys that were flying are actually on the terrorist side.
I think in the original Japanese they are.
That's a fairly major oversight.
What are they blowing
But it
up?
does explain some scenes later on.
Hmm.
Yeah, the expletives does add a bit.
Like it fits the milieu. It's the setting.
He looks so tiny compared to the other guys.
We've got the whole guerrilla gang out in force.
Hooga
A
hooga.
lump post.
He's so conspicuous.
Be the guy that was sitting alone in the room tapping that map.
Hmm.
Muttering ominous phrases to himself.
Talks very monotone.
He reminds me of me, and I don't like it.
I want all of Olympus to hear my thesis.
Poor guy. They're taking him to the loony bin. The non-humans don't understand humans. What did they
Force
do
him to
to
watch
him?
TikTok for 48 hours straight.
Ugh. This is pretty dystopian.
He's basically Shadow the Hedgehog.
Mm. The creepy, like, gray scale of the other. I'm assuming, like, that humans adds to it. Mm. Seems like a trap. Spidey senses tingle. Poor car. I like how it showed how strained the car was. I mean,
He did have
Yeah.
that whole speech.
he did a monologue. Oh, ear flappies are so cute. Oh, oh boy.
Well, hopefully Hitomi isn't like Chunky Campbell's tomato soup.
I don't think little Athena here would mind too much.
How is he already in a suit?
He's a quick change artist.
Oh, he's on the speedy.
Oh shoot, actually, yeah, that General Grievous fight probably is. Those animators probably saw this.
Hmm.
I had half the armor taken off to be the fastest.
Not fast enough.
This dude played baseball.
Poor girl.
You know, the smooth jazz is really adding to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
This is how VTubers are made.
Mm. Well, it worked.
Wait a minute, so all she has to do is just stand in the area?
That is.
The engineering team really wanted to go home that day.
He just laughed like a toddler.
Check out my new tank.
Yeah, Metal Gear.
Little spidey feet. Uh-oh.
Not the best, bro.
What was the thing she said at the beginning? A straight bastard. Oh, look at the smoke on the cannon still. It is a pretty neat thing. This music seems very upbeat. I'm not sure how to feel about the music right now. What is it supposed? What do
It's,
they
you
mean
know,
by this?
Just a
This-
chill time in the
This
city.
music. Oh, I like her pink outfit and white jacket.
He's just being a silly little whimsical guy.
That motorcycle shouldn't have been able to do that. It's gonna be the big reveal that she is.
She
No.
is Johnny Appleseed.
Wow. Why is she staring?
She's like, do I really want to take these two with me?
They're the enthusiastic toddlers that want to help you with everything. His children play
Oh, why you
flat.
laugh? He's laughing like a speed racer antagonist. He says as he doesn't actually kill any of them.
Like, he dropped a tree. But everything's offline.
Except for Guy.
Hmm. Like, guys just locked
Or
down.
except for Guy's security, I guess.
Wait, the expressions.
What are these expressions?
It's English,
I'm
I
gonna start
swear.
saying that.
Oh, I thought he had metal legs.
Well, the metal's gotta stop at some point. They are married.
I thought she just liked his little long pointy ears. Oh. Go that way, really fast. And if something gets in your way, go faster. He just wants to look at their butts.
What a lad.
I mean, this is a pretty good strategy, though.
He's got 4 eyes, so.
Catch all the. Just rattle the security system. Now he just hangs out and puts a tourniquet on. Question is, if he's like got metal around his leg, but then he's got an injury, how does he tourniquet it?
Well, he just has to put it between his heart and the.
No! He got shot in the stomach too? Oh no. Did she just fart?
I thought that was one of you guys at first.
Was she? What was that? Man. I guess even if there was an elevator, maybe it wouldn't be working.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
In case of fire or hostile takeover of the AI, please use the stairs.
Mm.
Well, no, but the elevator. There was no elevator.
I had to keep everyone fit. I'm all the way up there. Let's just wreck it. Oh my gosh. This is awful. True, true. Breathe out. Ew. That would be the reaction. Why is he out
Oh,
in
my
the
giant deaf
desert?
robot. This reminds me of me, and I don't like it.
Oh, they got him. They wrecked their big computer. Alright, now go save your husband.
This explains them being bad guys explains why they never show up on time to help out and get intercepted at the end.
Aww. Well, she was more just, like, shocked at his bloody face and backed up.
No, he just has that Riz. He's that
The-
Johnny Appleseed Riz.
He keeps talking very monotone. There's a reason he was put in the loony bin. He looks very 90s or 80s garb. I mean, I guess this was made in the 80s. Why did she just come by?
It's just the respect nod.
Oh, okay. I wonder if she put that on her schedule. At 2 o'clock, I must drive by
It's like,
and give a little nod.
Gaia, where is Nat Doonan at right now in the city?
And there's Appleseed.
Who is Appleseed?
Appleseed, Johnny Sebastian, shot in the head at a young age after stealing a multi-peed cannon.
I guess so. Did he get shot in the head? I thought he was just bleeding out.
No. He opened the cockpit door. And,
Oh, that was Johnny?
yeah, AJ
Yeah.
Sebastian, Appleseed Johnny
Oh, I guess so.
Sebastian type.
Ah, okay. Oh, happy ending. The only thing that threw me off was the happy jazz music at the end. I like the big chase.
The soundtrack is a point of criticism some people have leveled against this fine movie.
All the others
It's
spots
very
were pretty
80s.
good. The other
That
spots
was
were
a
pretty
very
good.
80s movie.
Mm-hmm. It was the 80s.
Also very 80s animation, and I say that as an unambiguous compliment. But back then they animated things with a certain fluidity, but also attention to detail that's absent in modern anime.
Mm.
Fact that like all the This is even more true in Metal Skin Panic, where it's literally just like animators are like, I want to do some detailed mechanical work, but
It's
I
funny.
just love how like 80s anime, oh, really 80s manga too. You get this combination of like the cartoonish art style for the human characters,
But
and then
sometimes
just
they just wanna-
loving detail and all the hardware.
But they also just want to flex, especially in this
Well-
animation at points. Like when they were pulling the guy out of the car, it's like it was a montage, but they slowed it down for like a whole 10, 15 seconds, pulling that guy out of the car.
More than just that, it's also the little things like the casual chamber check on the mag when the terrorist picked up the gun earlier.
Hmm.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, the expressions were pretty funny. What happens if the
Verbal or
computer goes
facial?
down? We're effed. I mean, yeah. No lies
This
detected
is really
there.
getting on my tits.
The reaction when the like big thing stopped working at the end.
Yeah, that was
So
hilarious.
It's like the fucking cocksuckers.
It's like a mechanic trying to bang a car engine back to life, but a giant scarab war machine.
There we go, Studio Gynax.
Oh, bedtime.
All right, Martel, do you see what Squirrel and I were saying though about the English dub adding character to this?
There was certainly character there.
There was a lot of character.
So funny.
I still have that complaint though about every dub I've seen tries to match up the words to the lips, and it just doesn't work. Especially not with two wildly disparate languages as English and Japanese.
I feel like it did pretty well, but I don't like focus on that much.
No, he's talking about the opposite problem of like trying to achieve perfect mouth flap to talking ratio means when you try and say it in English is really information dense compared to Japanese when it's spoken.
Mm-hmm.
So to match the flaps, you actually have to make the English wordier than it needs to be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fit into one syllable the information that Japanese will take 3 or 4 syllables.
Which is ironic because they can actually fit that in less text. You know?
Yeah, you seen this.
It's phonetic instead of the actual letters.
You see this with the jokes about English isekai titles, where it's like a 50-word, just full-on plot summary. In Japanese, it's like 12 characters.
Huh.
Well, yeah, because
that's
like
true.
what Konosuba is like, Kono Subarashi Sekai ni something. It's like God's blessing on this wonderful world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a rare case of something actually fitting pretty.
Oh, bad example. Forget what I just said.
Mm-hmm. All right, you can wrap up. I'm gonna go brush my teeth.
Okay.
Thanks for joining, chat.
Minna fluffles away.
Sleep well, Minna.
Wait, you gotta
Yeah.
fluffle away.
Yeah, on the dub side of things, especially since I started playing Clair Obscur with the French dub, they don't even try to match it up with the lips, and it honestly improves things much more.
Yeah, how's that been so far, gameplay wise?
So I just got to the start of Act 2 the other night, and so far it's been fair. A little tough for me because I'm one of those guys who never learned to parry in Dark Souls, so... But it does have a mechanic where you've got dodge and then you've got parry. The timings for parry are a lot harder, but the rewards are better, so they actually recommend using dodge when you're still learning the moves, which was actually good advice from the loading screen for once.
Is it like per character or class who can dodge and who can parry, or they're just both options to avoid damage?
universal for that. Each character has its own gimmick, which is nice. The party size is only 3, though, which I'm not as big a fan of.
Did they do that thing where when you don't have someone in the party, they don't get EXP?
They get a tithe of XP. But what I've taken to doing is just rotating out a character whenever one of them falls behind, because it doesn't take too long to level up if you do that way. But I don't like games that limit the... I don't like the party size being limited, especially in a turn-based game. And I don't like the games where party members don't get the same XP.
Mm.
Distressingly common.
That was one
That
of
was actually... There was this turn-based RPG called Lord of the Rings: The Third Age for GameCube. Which...
Was that the one that was the Final Fantasy X clone?
I never played Final Fantasy X, so I don't know.
Was it like the
But-
one where you could see your turn order? Like,
I don't even remember that much. It's
Okay.
been so long. But
yeah, it's been a hot minute.
I distinctly remember one of the things about it. There were a couple of segments in the later part of the game where you could only take certain characters in your party for certain segments because they had to split up to do different things. And I had had the same party on since the start of the game.
Oh yeah, no, this is actually an FF10 clone.
So I soft locked myself because my backup party wound up being so woefully underleveled that they actually couldn't do damage to the standard enemies. And I don't like that.
Yeah, that's not great design.
It's a common pitfall in some of these older games.
That was actually
Yep.
something that Pokemon improved mechanically over time, was like, I think by the time X and Y rolled around, I think they just had XP share always available by default.
Yeah. Knights
Yeah,
of
it's
the
around
Old
there.
Republic was the first game I played with XP share, and that was great. Man, KOTOR was a great game.
That one's still on my like, not even to be played pile because I haven't even bought the game on Steam, but just like in my like someday maybe pile.
I feel like that pile is getting larger faster than it's growing smaller, right?
So
Yeah, because I've still got
KOTOR-
like,
KOTOR was great, absolutely fantastic. I don't like KOTOR 2 as much, largely because of how much darker it is. And I don't necessarily mean that in a story character sense, although it does have that going on. I mean, it's like the game designers got a new engine, found out that they could use shadows, and decided to put shadows in everything, including supposedly a planet in broad daylight. Oh, and KOTOR 1, the menu is bright blue text over a black background. In KOTOR 2, they switched it to dull green over a black background.
Oh, party fell.
Mechanically, is KOTOR like, is it one of those games where it like pioneered something that's now been improved upon, or is the gameplay still going to hold up, like regardless of the Star Wars appeal?
Gameplay still holds up. Pausable, turn-based, real-time combat.
How's the real time
It's a
work
weird mix.
versus the turn based? Like, is it like
So
active time battle meter like in some Final Fantasy games, or
it's real time on the timeline, and characters have wind up or a cooldown time on certain abilities, and you can pause it and issue orders during the pause.
Okay. That way you don't have to be like microing each character as their time comes up or as they come off cooldown.
Yeah. It's like the RPG version of a Paradox game. Pausable
Okay.
real time.
I guess Arknights is the same, minus the issuing orders thing.
Yeah, that's a good way
There
to
was
look
once
at it.
upon a time there was a bug where you could deploy units while the game was paused, but that's long gone.
Yeah, imagine Arknights, but you can deploy units and activate abilities while the game is paused.
I guess it slows down the game enough that it's sort of like that.
Yeah, they kind of found their balance. It works.
So you can,
For those
you
in the
can
audience
pause
who've
the-
played Dragon Age Origins, that was an
Oh
iteration
yeah,
of the KOTOR
that's
design.
another example. Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, but they were going more for a
when you brought the menus,
third-person
it would
shooter RPG.
but it would do the same thing where it's like it would pause the game, and you could like aim the abilities. They did port that directly into Mass Effect 1, at least. By the time they got to 2, it turned into COD.
Deliberately so.
But that's of course a whole other tangent.
Yeah. Well, it's like how, frankly, there was a massive fall-off between Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. Both in gameplay and story, but gameplay-wise, it was because BioWare decided to chase the COD crowd, because COD is the best-selling game ever, so why wouldn't we want to make our game a clone of COD instead of focusing on our...
Now we're just
I'm ranting.
Dragon Age is a sword and sorcery game, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And an RPG. Let's not forget that it's an RPG. You see this all the time. It's not just games, it's everything. A company has an order winner, they do it well, they have their niche, but they want mass appeal, so they decide to adulterate their product or make a complete switch, and they discover that not only have they lost their existing audience or customer base, they aren't attracting the one they wanted to get because there are already other products that do the exact same thing but better.
A tale as old as time.
I think that's what happened with Hyper Light Breaker. I haven't looked to see how popular that game is, but I was real excited for a sequel to Hyper Light Drifter, the fairly low-res 2D indie old school Zelda style slash 'em up, shoot 'em up game. And for the sequel, they decided to go with 3D.
Totally just like jank it up.
I looked at the trailers and I was just like, this. I was hoping for more of Hyper Light Drifter with. I'm not really even sure what quality of life improvements you could make for Hyper Light Drifter except just making more of it because the game is only like 4 or 6 hours long. But that was not it.
Unfortunately, game designers especially are kind of stuck on the twin prongs of the dilemma of, for a sequel, do we change up the formula and reinvent the game? And, well, we've gone over the pitfalls inherent in that quite a lot. Or do we change so little that we run the risk of people not playing it because, well, it's like what Paradox did with Crusader Kings 3.
If I was going to bring up an example of that not in so much as in a negative way, but as in like you're never going to please everybody way. Look at our most recent 2 big Zeldas, right?
Yeah.
They are in the one that was the let's do something really, really different. That's Breath of the Wild. It sells a cajillion copies. They're like, well, shoot, what do? We make Breath of the Wild 2, right? And I have, it seems like the sense I get without being able to read the inner thoughts of Nintendo, that they probably waffled a little bit on how close they wanted to stick to it, and they ended up, I think, sticking to it a little closer than maybe I personally would have preferred. But it's not one I can necessarily whine about, because it's like, if you make it too different, then people are going to whine that it's like, well, we wanted to play Breath of the Wild, it's like, there's no winning.
Well, it's like the crowd who whined about Breath of the Wild, because it's not a Zelda game. Why didn't we get an exact clone of Ocarina of Time?
Well, the funny part is, they were whining about everything being a clone of Ocarina for years. That was a big complaint about Twilight Princess.
Exactly.
I could go on about that for some length as well. But basically, like, you kind of have to try to make your quality of your thing as high as possible, because like someone's always going to be unhappy that it's either not close enough to the previous thing or too different from the previous thing.
And for my part, I think that they did a perfectly good job of changing things up. And we're just doing personal opinions here, but
yeah,
frankly, my only problem with those games is 4 times bigger than Skyrim, 4 times bigger than Breath of the Wild.
16 times the detail, as Todd once famously said.
Yeah,
it's
too much for me to play.
Can you devote 80 to 120 hours of your life to play like one playthrough of a game?
Yeah, exactly.
It's that kind of thing. And yes, I know I'm guilty. I have 800 hours in Helpers too, so shut up. But still, that's different.
Yeah.
Right. That's not one playthrough. That's like thousands of missions that we've been playing for the last year and a half.
And that's why we've come around to liking roguelikes at this point, because it's like iterated little bite-sized chunks of the game at a time, but it's fresh and different every time. Back to the previous example of CK3, though, apparently it's changed quite a lot with all of the expansions, but especially when it came out, I just didn't see the point in playing it, because what does it do that I don't already get from CK2?
Yeah, that's why I never really jumped over to it either.
And then they went the opposite direction with CK3.
A friend of mine never played CK2, so when he bought CK3, it's like totally new to him. So it's like he likes it. Like, no, it makes sense,
Yep. And then they just completely screwed up Vicky 3 by making the flow of the game dependent on the construction queue. And
Let's
you can
not
only
talk
do that
about
once at a time.
3.
And they got rid of armies.
You're just going to make me mad.
Was a good concept, but terrible execution.
Do you think
Let's talk about something we like. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what I'd be interested to see them do with Zelda is return to Adventure of Link format with an overworld leading to side-scrolling dungeons. I'd be curious to see, with now that we're in the post-Hollow Knight world, what they would do with side-scrolling Legend of Zelda.
That's one thing I have always thought that, okay, you know what you could do? Try to do some bite-sized projects. If you're one of these really big studios, you're like, well, we can make a game that's got a smaller budget and a really quick turnaround time, and we sell it for like $20, right? You're intentionally hitting like this like smaller chunk, because that's what indie titles do. They're done on these smaller budgets. Not Hollow Knight. They usually come out faster. Yeah, I mean, you'd think that would be more common.
And
it seems like it's not, because you could do some kind of like pixel Zelda, just make something like, well, take a look at what was this Echoes of Wisdom thing, kind of like that, where they did it on it's a much smaller scale project, so it doesn't take as many people, and they make a game. There you go. Here's your 2D-ish Zelda. Have fun.
And you could use it to innovate new game mechanics, because it's
and you put
smaller scale.
Younger people in charge of the program as well. This is like on a software development side. This is what FromSoft did with Night Rain. They're like, basically let the kids make most of the decisions here and see what works and what doesn't. So we want more of that.
Keeps the stakes lower too. If it doesn't pan out like Oh, they didn't like our side-scrolling Zelda roguelike. At least we
Yeah, and
didn't
it's kind of
sink tons of
hard
money into it.
to. It's very hard to step into that market because, and they know this. There's so many fan games at this point for exactly that reason. Because it can be some dude in his basement just makes one, or like a couple people on a Discord server. So it almost you almost don't even want to try to shoot for that super low end. And I don't say low end in terms of quality or fun. I'm talking low end in terms of like
Budget,
the budget and stuff, because
team
it's like,
size,
because then people are
scope.
gonna be like, why would I spend $20 to do this when I can? There's a Link to the Past roguelike. I forget the name of it. It's like Dungeons of Infinity or something like that. That's what it's called,
Mm.
I think. And it's basically Enter the Gungeon, but it's like it's literally just like in Link to the Past. So you do these runs, and you get your power ups and yada 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 as one expects. So these things already exist. The stuff's too popular, so I think
Why
it
waste
almost
their
makes me feel
time
kind of
competing
almost
in
makes
that
me feel kind of
market?
bad for some of the the people who make Pokemon. Not
Mm.
necessarily people making the decisions of what's going to be made, but like Game Freak to me is so clearly like not up to the task on a technical level.
Out of their
Of
depth.
they've been struggling ever since they went to 3D because they were knocking it out of the park with their handheld stuff for years. And then pretty much as soon as we get to X and Y, I think that's where we see a lot of Pokemon's modern problems, because it's this machine, and the games kind of almost exist to sell like merch,
Mm.
And there's also this anime and so on, and it's like they never have the time to spend to like make something, and I think they're aiming for way too big of a scope. They don't have enough people to do it, and I don't think they've got the right they don't spend enough time cooking. I frankly think Pokemon is one of those things that probably shouldn't have ever left the pixels, at least for the main games.
Mm.
You could totally do good 3D ones. It's just you got to have your scope a little bit more narrowed down, like Pokemon Coliseum, which is totally. It's even though it's like it's just Pokemon like Gen 3, but it's not this adventure where you go around, you fight the gyms, and you capture the Pokemon. Right? It's like
You don't have
very
to have
much.
all 150, 250.
The funny part is they did model every Pokemon that existed at the time, but this is also in the GameCube era, so that wasn't quite the task it is today.
Mm.
But
They probably already
What-
had
for-
some stuff from Pokemon Stadium they could kind of dust off too.
a little bit, if what I know is if I can guess correctly, probably. But the main point is that the way that game worked, because you didn't catch wild Pokemon, they had complete control, very tight control over the party that you actually got, so they could tailor individual bosses and trainers to
Mm.
be interesting challenges that you had to overcome. Like one of the first big bosses you fight in that game does this earthquake protect strategy, because it's all double battles, right? So they'll alternate between protect and like the other Pokemon earthquakes, and so you have to figure out how to handle this. Like, oh, use confuse, right? Use some kind of status effect. You're supposed to kind of like it. It actually manages to be a Pokemon game that has a like modest amount of difficulty compared to the normal games, which are just piss easy, because you don't have infinite experience and you don't have any Pokemon you want. You have like a limited party selection.
Mm.
Which I'm like, they have never done that since then. They did Pokemon Coliseum, they did XD, which was
Well,
like a follow-on game, and that's the only time they've ever done that.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
and it's a problem with the game industry as a whole. We see they would rather do Call of Duty 22 now with omnidirectional movement, but even fewer mechanics than Modern Warfare 2 back in the day.
yeah, it's this.
Worse maps.
They want to go for the safer options, and it's like I get it, but it's frustrating to watch.
They've got idiots who will buy the slop they put out every time and then praise it as the best ever, so
Yeah,
can't really blame them.
it's unfortunately the economics kind of determine a lot of it. So here we are, right?
I imagine if the AAA studios, they probably got something similar to that film industry formula, where it's like if you calculate all the numbers and it comes out to greater than one, green light it.
Yeah. Which is why we all hope for massive flops like Concord.
There have been an
No,
awful
seriously,
lot
but
of those
there
recently.
needs to be a wake up call.
That's what clears the deck.
Yep.
It's like a fire in the forest, you know? You need that to have new growth sometimes.
And I used to praise indie games for doing something unique, except that these days they're all the exact same slop. Like, oh wow, it's a Minecraft clone with survival and crafting mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, my favorite. Friend slop.
Oh yeah,
It's like here's 4 players and you like are doing some random thing. It's like some of them do look kind of funny, but it's like there's a
Streamer
different one every
bait.
month. It's like
Oh.
Lethal Company. Yeah, it's streamer bait.
the Among
It's like
Us
one-
clone, the Lethal Company clone.
It just keeps going. Like if you have friends, I'm sure those are just a blast. We are all boring and we don't play those games. We play like Helldivers.
Because we have no friends.
Yeah, you guys. I don't like any of you. I don't even know I'm here. But I'm kidding.
no.
But
Games like Among Us or Lethal Company are optimized for Twitch streamers. They aren't actually meant to be played, they're meant to be watched being played by groups
Designed to
of people.
be reacted to.
Exactly.
it does feel like a lot of them are aiming at that. I
It's
don't think that's what they were thinking when they made Among Us. I think it just blew up way bigger than they ever expected, and so then it became a copy of it.
Among Us? No. Everything since? Oh yeah.
It's like, let's sell 10 trillion copies to all the children, and they're going to have Amagus birthday cakes.
Yeah, that and like the 5 gajillion Five Nights at Freddy's clones.
Oh yeah, that was popular for a while.
I mean,
Thank
it's
you
still
so
going. They're
much,
still
Markiplier.
releasing Poppy Playtime stuff.
That's the other format that I hate of the oh, let's take this concept of a beloved children's franchise and turn it dark and gritty and horrifying.
There was the one that made me laugh was the
Hamburger Helper.
no, it wasn't Waddle Time. What am I? It's the Furby one.
The what?
Tattletale.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was called Tattletale. It was like
Tattletale, yeah.
that one was just goofy, just because Furbies did look a little bit evil, but it is the same genre. It's just Amnesia: The Dark Descent, but probably not as good.
Oh, with Mickey Mouse.
Oh. And Goofy comes in, he's like, "Hoop!"
Expect more of that will keep running out as more and more beloved characters enter the public domain, unfortunately.
Well,
Yeah.
Dude, they don't even have to be in public domain. We have
every
so many-
single. I've gotten sick of every single time a character has entered the public domain in the last 10 years. The first thing that comes out is a gritty, dark slasher film.
Let
the
me
Pooh,
introduce
Slasher
you
film.
to evil
Popeye,
Mario games.
Slasher film. It's just.
There's so many like evil Mario like chases you through World War I kind of games. It's to the point where it's like it's comedic.
Yeah. They're all stupid and I hate them.
There's a Pokemon ROM hack called Pokemon, I think it's like Snakewood or something like that, where there's a bunch of zombies, and like you use the Pokemon and you just like kill the other trainer. It's like that. It's like I am 13 and this is like super edgy, you know.
There's already so much dark stuff in Pokemon lore they could work with, but they're not interested in that, are
Yeah.
they?
See, and that's the other thing. Pokemon used to be a lot weirder. If there's anything that ever got sanitized, it feels like Pokemon did.
Well, okay,
Nobody-
part of that is first installment weirdness stuff. And part of that is.
Dude, they're talking about in like freaking Gen 4 games how like Pokemon are made out of a dude's rib. It's like Garden of Eden stuff. Did you
Anyway,
ever go to the Candlelight City Library?
I only ever played Pokemon Sapphire.
Hmm.
But the other thing is, I can't remember if we've talked about this on stream or not, but Pokemon was made originally by a guy who liked collecting bugs as a kid. Now,
Straightforward.
Pokemon is made by people who liked playing Pokemon as a kid.
Hmm.
And you see this with...
Yeah, if it's old enough to have the fans of it be working on it, that
Well, you see
I
this
feel like
with
we're
everything.
just kind of starting to study it.
The interesting franchises used to be made by people with interesting life experiences. Now, it's made by people who grew up on the product, so it becomes a parody of itself.
I feel like
you see this with
we were talking
Star
about
Wars.
books when we were talking about this, weren't we? Like a while
Maybe.
back.
Probably.
This
But
conversation sounds vaguely familiar.
A while back, someone pointed out that you can see this perfectly exemplified in Star Wars. In Episode 4, you've got the brief where all of the pilots are gathered around and the general is presenting the diagram of the Death Star and the attack plan. And Luke, being a rookie pilot, is in the back row whispering to the other pilot, like, 3 meters is just the size of a Womp Rat. I used to fly those in my T-16 Skyhopper all the time. Because they understood what a pilot brief in a ready room looked like. In Episode 9, I think, where somehow Palpatine has returned, everybody is just standing in a circle and talking about their feelings.
Or the writers all come from, like, California universities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because not a one of them understands what a military is actually supposed to be.
Or frankly, how normal people even talk.
That too.
But yeah. That's our favorite whipping boys, the writers.
Well, they make it so easy for us.
They do. Ugh.
Oh, while we're on the topic of Star Wars real quick, amongst the other films I watched on my long plane ride, rewatched Return of the Jedi, which I think this might be the first time since reading that Orthodox Cleric's review that I've actually like sat down and rewatched the whole thing.
Did it improve the throne room scene?
It did immensely. And Jabba's palace as well, which is already like one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Lucas was
And-
cooking, I gotta say.
Yeah,
And honestly,
he was always a better world builder and producer than he was director and writer.
Ewoks are not that bad.
I still hate them, don't worry. But, yeah, they're not that bad.
I will point out that after their initial surprise attack, they were very quickly put on the ropes by the mechanized forces of the Empire until
Yes,
one
but-
of the ATSTs is commandeered.
We were still deprived of the Wookiee rebellion, so
Yeah.
apparently that was
It should have just been normal Wookiees, like, so there's these giant, like, 8-foot tall ape men.
apparently that was not Lucas's decision. That was someone else's.
I would never have guessed that. It's like, the Ewoks here, they're funnier characters than we ever had. It's like, it'd be like, they're going to take the logs and they're going to smack it inside the ATST and it's going to explode and it's going to be really, whoa. And you never seen anything like that. That's kind of how Lucas talks.
I can't actually remember ever seeing a clip of him talking.
Did you ever watch
He's
the
got a very funny, mumbly style.
No, wait, there was that one thing where he was talking about the whole fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate cycle, and it actually made sense when he explained it that way. But he did a terrible job of that in the films.
the
What
VHSs we had?
Go ahead.
Yeah, the VHSs we had growing up was the one where it had his interview with Leonard Maltin chopped up in front of the beginnings of each of the films. So he has that. Yeah, he does have that mumbly sort of way of talking.
There's a potentially apocryphal tale of at one point during one of the original trilogy movies. Harrison Ford, famously a people person, very easy to be around. George gives him the script. He's like reading it. He's like, George, you can write this shit, but you sure as hell can't say it. Very Harrison Ford-esque. I can't really do an impression of him, but it's like, yeah. I gotta imagine some of those actors look at those lines and they're just like, "What am I looking at?" Wasn't the guy who played Obi-Wan like famously really salty about it?
He was, but he also had negotiated 2% of royalties for life from all the
Yeah,
merchandising.
so he's like filthy rich. So
You can't be too mad.
he's like, your father. Yeah. He didn't even have to act that much.
Although,
He was in
also,
like one movie.
like in light of the prequels and everything, even just within the film itself, this time watching Return of the Jedi, it's like, dude, Obi-Wan and Yoda were totally just setting him up to kill his own dad, and they had no intention of ever telling him that's what they were doing.
You know, Obi-Wan maybe wasn't the best master. He might have assisted somewhat in the whole Anakin but Anakin dark side, I hate sand thing.
Well,
Just saying.
let's not forget the entire Jedi Order how admit that the Chancellor of the Republic was a Sith for what, like 10 years, 15 years?
I mean, he is like the Dark Lord. It's like maybe he's just really good. I don't know.
Yes, but they were meeting with him on a regular basis.
Look, he's real good at concealing his mana.
Okay, did you guys read Wheel of Time?
Yes. The freaking Aes Sedai and the Black Aja.
Well, that and like you had like the literal like son of the devil and his buddies like are just like masquerading around. We're magical. You know, I would presume that whatever hand wavy explanation is, that's why they didn't know Palpatine is like, you know, who he was. I mean, the Sith don't last for 1,000 years with the rule of 2 if you don't know how to hide.
Sure, but I don't think that they ever had a Sith meeting with Jedi Masters on a regular basis to discuss policy.
Maybe the Jedi just forgot what Siths smell like.
Well,
Like-
yeah, that's the because like there are other dark side Force users, but they're all like witches and other like weird shit
You know, like on Dathomir.
that aren't specifically Sith.
Yes, but okay, one, Yoda, supposedly the most powerful, ancient, wise, blah blah blah. I know.
Yoda was on crack. We all know this.
Yes. And-
Methamphetamines I must take.
Two, I think that the Jedi are just blind because they somehow missed not one but 2 members of the Jedi Council having secret wives and families.
Okay, if you even know any bureaucracy,
I was gonna say like, so. Wait a minute. I don't think Ki-Adi-Mundi's stuff was secret. He was actually just allowed that because of how few dudes his race actually gets.
oh, those are the dudes with like the heart in their brain.
I guess the really ugly looking ones that committed war crimes on the Geonosians with flamethrowers.
You have to narrow it down.
You know, that show was
Narrow
just
that
War
down.
Crime Central.
But
We believe you. It's okay.
yeah, but no, the guy with the like weird the weird knobbly cone head. Technically, he's actually got a bunch of wives because that's just how his species needs to do things, or they'll die out.
Okay,
Oh,
fine.
no.
Gaudimuzi is an exception, but they
Oh.
somehow missed Anakin
I have
being
to have
married
a
to
harem.
Padme
Oh, no.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's all right. I feel no attachment to any of them.
I mean, given how much of an ass Ki-Adi-Mundi is always portrayed as, I would not be surprised.
Maybe
Like,
that's
even
why
when
they
they try and
allowed
make
it.
him look. Yeah, it's just like.
Maybe the clones like didn't feel bad about that one.
Yeah.
Probably not, no.
They're like, all right, I've been waiting for this order for a while. It's the perfect cover.
Yeah, most clones. Man, it sucks that we have to execute this order. The clones decide to Ki-Adi-Mundi. Yes!
You know that there were,
finally!
like, you know there were some clones who like Palpatine just be like execute, and they're like shooting before he finishes the sentence. Just
I like to
dropping
imagine that actually the clones fragged Ki-Adi-Mundi about 5 minutes before the order came in.
I like that.
Now,
too.
how
I'm
do
going
we
with that.
explain this?
They're
They're
just
like,
sweating
oh,
the
shit.
first
On
5 minutes.
66. Okay, we'll just futz the timeline in the official report, and it's all good.
Well, I think in the film, don't they like just like stand there and just absolutely make sure he's dead.
Oh yeah, they keep shooting for a solid 20 seconds after he
Oh,
dies.
they just like he does like this sick backflip. He gets like takes a laser blast to the head. And he's like, ugh.
In fairness, though, that's what I would do if I was killing a Jedi.
Yeah, he's like a space wizard. Do you think shooting him once is gonna work? You need to shoot
Yeah,
him like
no.
100 times.
Sure, he's on the ground, but we know that there's that whole force coma thing. So keep shooting to make absolutely well and certain.
How many times in the extended universe books did somebody not double tap and then the other guy survives?
Yeah.
Too many times to count.
Too many times to count.
And let's not
Yeah.
forget, the Jedi are capable of coming back as angry ghosts. Like, Exar Kun was still kicking around 10,000 years after his death.
He was not a happy camper.
Yeah. I remember the Legends thing, even before they got the Clone Wars show and stuff, where they were like, basically the people who worked with Plo Koon and Isla Secura made it quick because they were actually really well liked.
Battlefront 2.
I was gonna
That
say
was such a great game.
Plo Koon was in his Starfighter at the time.
Yeah, and then they just
Yeah, that
shot
would be
out
pretty quick.
Isla. Yeah, they just shot Isla in the back a couple times and just let that be the end of it.
No, they were still shooting.
Oh, they were?
It
I
went
just
on
felt
for a
really
fair
bad about it.
Again, it's the Jedi, and the clones are, if nothing else, professional.
This is true.
Now, Commander Cody probably was sandbagging because it's just, let's fire a single cannon shot. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't see him. I guess that means he's dead. Don't bother with a search. Let's just go along.
Cody was a bro.
He was.
Yeah.
How many Codys do you think the clones had? Like,
I was gonna say,
I
as
mean,
dumb, as
they're
dumb
running
as
names.
as dumb as parts of the final seasons of Clone Wars were, watching Rex and Ahsoka have to deal with Order 66 was pretty solid. But yeah, the actually I think one of the chief parts I remember of that season was just like hating the fact that we randomly had to put up with those weird sisters where they were like, hey, we need to have more minorities in Clone Wars. Okay, well, let's bring in 2 Latinas and then make them criminals.
I don't think they ever really tend to self-reflect on those kinds of things. But yeah.
Honestly, there was one scene I think where I was specifically rooting for the Trandoshan to just like crush their skulls because one of them decided to get into like hand to hand with a Trandoshan, and I was like,
Are those the
I
guys
know
with the
you're
spikes on their heads?
No,
they're-
that's Bosk
Bosk.
species.
yeah.
Hmm.
Can technically like physically go toe to toe with Wookiees in some cases.
Yeah, 7-foot tall lizards that
Oh, those fellas. Okay.
they are hated by the Wookiees because their hobby is enslaving Wookiees.
And hunting them for sport.
I think understandably they might not be fans.
Yeah, but the point is, these guys consider it honorable to beat a Wookiee into unconsciousness, chain him up, and then sell him.
So they're pretty
And
tough.
you want to get into hand-to-hand with him.
Yeah, it's like I know you guys are considered the pro tags, so this guy's gonna lose. But man, do I wish that he just kind of was allowed to get down with his bad Trandoshan self, and then just kill both of you so you could free Ahsoka from this shitty plot point.
You know, sometimes it's actually maybe good to have the protagonist take a fat L. You know, character growth and all that.
Not too much, though.
Not
Otherwise,
too
you get...
much, but like
what was
'cause
that
you-
TV tropes thing? The Worf effect?
Oh yeah.
Where ostensibly he's badass, but he spends every time just getting beat up to demonstrate how badass the new bad
yeah,
guys
I mean, you know
are.
what? You that's why you gotta do it.
So he
You-
becomes a joke.
And then Deep Space Nine was like, you know what? We're going to actually treat this character with respect. And proceeds to just do insane things.
It was never much of
Well,
a treasure.
especially with these long-running shows, the There's so many character pitfalls that need to be avoided, like
everything in every
Flanderization.
shonen anime that's ever been made.
I was just saying Flanderization, where
Well, yeah.
the
Look
characters are
look
fairly
how they
complex at the start.
disrespected my boy Rock. Okay, I've got
Disrespected what?
my boy Rock Lee. I have got a blood feud with the author of Naruto. That bastard.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's like they make this big song and dance and show about. Well, you're not defined by the bloodlines and the superpowers you inherit from your family. Yeah, but look at Rock Lee. He's so cool. He trains really hard. He has the weights and drops them and they explode. Well, he's fast and he kicks. And then they're like, then they make Naruto Super Ninja Jesus because he inherited all from his parents. It's like, okay, sure, that's great. I'm ranting. I'm gonna stop myself.
I don't think that's Flanderization exactly.
Well,
no, but it is a
it's a pitfall. We'll call it that.
Yeah, it is a long term.
Beating up on Naruto is like beating a dead horse that's been dead for 20 years. It's just too easy. It's like taking candy from a baby.
Or sending a ninja after a velociraptor to infiltrate an installation that has a velociraptor in it for some insane reason.
Wasn't that a plot point in Dr. McNinja?
Yeah, except Dr. McNinja did it well. And it wasn't some duck-haired loser with the Sharingan trying to get out of the velociraptor's way.
Are we still talking about Naruto?
Yes.
It's a long story.
The sequel, yeah. I'll put it this way. I'm glad I stopped watching almost immediately after Shippuden came out. And, like, every time I look back on that, it's like, yeah, there were a few good points and interesting characters, but man, I could have picked a way better starter anime. I could have just started out with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and not dealt with frickin'
my first anime was Bleach.
Again with the like with what's coming out now is just like, oh yeah, by the way, he's got like the best of literally everything in his DNA. This character was born to be the freaking savior of everything. Not even like a cool you're a chosen one way, but like literally just like, hi, I'm naturally better than you at everything. The only plot points are me just slowly unlocking more bullshit powers.
Naruto was always one of those anime that I'm never gonna watch because by the time I heard about it, it already had 300 episodes.
Yeah.
Isn't One Piece in like 1200 now?
Bleach, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Actually, the only long-running anime that I have time for is Legend of the Galactic.
Legend of the Galactic. Ah, yeah, baby. In this house,
and that is
both
a comparatively modest 127 episodes.
I still, well, I won't say anymore. It's a great show. Watch it.
I'm also never going to watch the reboot.
I can't say I have any interest in it because, like, what's it going to do that the original couldn't?
Exactly.
They made everybody uglier somehow.
Well, it looks like they took all of the character from the old style animation and flattened it. Maybe the battle scenes look better, but the battle scenes were never the point of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. It's
everything leading up
largely
to that
because
point.
Largely because it falls into the Orientalist trap of, you know, I have a plan, and you know that I have a plan, so I'm going to make a plan to counter the plan that you've made because you know the plan that I've planned. But you have a plan to counter the plan that I've planned, and
it gets a bit goofy.
And the thing is, even the race that took that to its apex in naval strategy and operations, the Japanese, were still very simple at the moment of actual contact, largely because there's only so much you can do once the battle starts. Like Tsushima, they just crossed the T.
It's like just we know we're better.
They had superior positioning at the start, so they crossed the T. Which, for those who don't know anything about naval tactics, picture a ship. The bow is the front of the ship, Crossing the T is where you move in front of the bow of the enemy, so you can hit them with all of the guns in your broadside, which is the side of the ship.
So do you recall
they
that
can-
ships
they
at
can
the
only
time
respond
will
with their
be
chase
in
batteries.
line of battle. That's where battleship comes from, the word. So
Yep.
you'd have the lead ship, and then like the following ships would all just follow along, and so it would end up like look like a caterpillars that are like dueling each other. Because if
Yep.
you could have your sides facing the enemy, you could bring all of your guns to bear, or at least more of them, than somebody who is facing front, who only have their front guns, which means
What's
more
called the chase
firepower.
armament.
And therefore, crossing a T, if you would looked at it from above on a map, literally looks like the letter T. It is that simple.
And in the Age of
And if
Sail,
you wanna get
get the
really
advantage
archaic-
of your cannonballs getting to travel the entire length of their deck.
I was about to say, yes.
Especially in the age of wooden sail, although it didn't change that much.
By the way,
Iron and Steel,
watch Master and Commander. It's a great film.
great film.
It
It took The Return of the King to beat that for Film of the Year in 2003.
In fairness, though, 2003 was
2003
just
was
a
an incredible
banner year
year.
for films.
Yeah.
Like, you had both of the Matrix sequels, Return of the King,
Last
Pirates of the
Samurai.
Caribbean, Last Samurai.
Oh, was Pirates of the Caribbean one that year too? No way, dude.
One of the Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't remember which one.
That's wacky.
I
But-
think it was the first one.
Pirates are
And
fun.
Master and Commander was, back in the day, so archaic that they were called ships of the line instead of battleships. Don't get us started on naval history,
Don't-
or do it. We can make a stream about it.
We could do a stream about boats. I like boats. Boats are cool.
Wooden ships.
I'm
and
not
Iron
quite
Man
at the
was
level of
the,
boat autism as Squirrel, but I can sing the song and dance the dance.
Wooden Ships and Iron Man was one of the board games of choice growing up, so I know at least raking the deck gave you significant bonuses on the combat results table, as well as if
Quite
you
This is
with-
why
withheld your first volley of the game, because then there was a bonus to the first volley to represent the fact that all the cannons were packed in a nice, comfortable environment versus in the middle of the battle.
So did you ever look at if you recall the look of ships in, let's say, about around 1600s era? You know how they had that they were like very fat in the bottom and they were really tall. They had these really big forecastles and aft castles.
Like a flight?
Before that,
Right, the
So-
Dutch merchant ships, the flights.
predates this. Because once gunpowder started getting involved onto boats, which, I mean, it's hard to say, because even even as early as the 1400s, we were starting to see cannon. Like those existed in gunpowder showed up in Europe in like 1100 or something like that.
Yep.
I don't know the exact year off the top of my head, so don't quote me on it. But for naval artillery to be gunpowder fed, as opposed to being like they actually put ballista and stuff on these things before that, and catapults, which is super awesome when you think about it. But once we get to like actual gunpowder weapons, you start seeing the forecastles and aft castles, and there's other reasons for this as well. But they get really tall, so that way you put your cannons higher up and shoot down on the deck. Hence those raking actions. Like you'd get up and you could clear the enemy's deck, which is why even later years, post American Revolution, this is why one of the reasons you really don't want to go up against bigger ships with a smaller one, because if you get close, they have a height advantage against you. Not to mention the fact they just have way more guns and their guns are bigger, but they can also shoot down at the same time that they're just shooting bigger guns.
Arguably, the first major battle which saw the use of primarily gunpowder in a decisive role was the Battle of Lepanto in 1571, which was notable because it was fought on the Mediterranean, and prior to this moment, the main ship in the Mediterranean was the galley, which was oar-driven and sank the enemy by ramming it. A time-honored tradition that's been around since Achilles
famous Venetian galleasses.
smacking down Hector back at Troy. Yes, so the Venetians pioneered the use of the galleass as opposed to the galley, which was notable in that it did not have a ram, it had a heavy forward armament of cannon. Very big cannons. compared to the much smaller cannons that were really more of a secondary effect for galleys at the time.
Anti-personnel.
And for a number of reasons, they utterly crushed the battle. The galleasses played a major role, but there was also the issue of the Ottoman ships were made of unseasoned green wood. Their crews were just about as green.
They didn't have a big problem with having substantial numbers of the rowers were just straight up slaves.
Yeah,
Specifically Christian slaves.
Not very well treated slaves, so they didn't have.
There was a bit of an underdeck rebellion problem once the actual combat got joined.
Yep, the Holy League had veteran commanders and crews and ships. But it's notable for the pioneering of the galleass.
Sorry, I'm tisming.
Yep, that we got ourselves started.
Should we talk about something safe like tier lists now? I don't know.
I was going to say something else. If we want to extend the watch party a little bit, the first episode of the new season of Ultraman came out 15 hours ago.
Oh boy.
I will probably watch that on my own time if I watch it.
What's your schedule look like here, Emilio? I know it's kind of late for you. How much yap do you have left in you? I mean, I know it's a lot, but how much reasonable yap do you have left?
Oh, well, I do have church in the morning since we were delayed significantly trying to get to church this evening, so we weren't able to. So the plan to go to church this evening and then be able to sleep in did not come to fruition.
Did you guys have at 10:30?
Isn't it already morning where you are?
Yes. I probably should go to bed soon.
So we're not gonna get to the tier list today. Rip.
No, but let's see. What am I doing next weekend?
Bummer.
I think most of my weekends are actually free this month.
We can talk offline.
Yeah. I think my weekends are actually free this month, so we can probably fit some more stuff in.
Nice.
Maybe I'll finally get Degenbrecher on a banner.
Well,
yeah, life's hard.
It's not like we're strapped for content, because after the tier list, we can do writing critiques of Arknights.
Well, we've got to wait for him to
I actually need to play more Arknights.
And if all else fails, we can do a book club discussion of Shattered Sword.
Oh, there you go. Oh God.
Or well, we also need to drag Squirrel into the Book of the New Sun. Mind
you guys
virus.
gave me a sneak preview the other day, and I'm just like, oh boy.
It's a thing.
How many times have I heard it's a thing?
It's kind of hard to explain.
It's a story of a boy and his sword and how he becomes king.
What kind of sword?
Super advanced futuristic sword with variable non-Newtonian fluid in the to make it heavier on the downstroke and lighter on the upstroke.
This is not
helping. It's got a liquid mercury core.
Based on what you were telling me yesterday, I'm concerned.
It's a harem anime before harem anime was a thing.
You know, I vaguely remember that Katachan knives from 40K are supposed to have that same core.
Oh, so that it's light to lift and heavy to swing.
Yeah. Or more specifically, they're machetes, but
I did not know that.
Honestly, I remember that again. This could be just my mind misfiring, but I recall that from the 2000s redive of the many redives that I continually take into Warhammer.
Oh, also the character becomes friends with Bean from Ender's Game.
Interesting.
Wait.
I forget which one Bean is.
He's the really smart kid who's not Ender.
Who am I thinking? Or who? Which Book of the New Sun character does Bean equate to?
So Bean's whole thing is that he is the product of a science experiment to increase intelligence by making something that continually grows.
Oh, gotcha. Was that revealed in the first book, or is that in like one of the later sequels?
It's been so long since I read those things, I can't remember.
The bit about Bean, actually,
Yeah.
that's from the side book of Ender's Game, which was
Ender's Shadow?
Shadow. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, it's from Ender's Shadow.
That's why I did not know that. I think my brother read those books. I just read the first one in Speaker for the Dead and tried to read Xeno's side, but I don't think I finished it.
Honestly, the Ender's Shadow series was way better for sequels.
Hmm.
Ender's Game is better as a standalone.
Now, which came first then? Because I think both those series were written in the 80s.
Ender's Shadow came. Oh, you mean Ender's Game and Book of the New Sun?
Yeah.
Man, are they that
Ender's
old?
Game, 1985. Shadow of the Torturer.
So Ender's Shadow
1980.
came out in 1999.
Okay, so well after all the Book of the New Sun was published.
Yep. Although it's possible that the idea was still there, because Ender's Game started out as a short story.
Hmm.
So, I don't know.
I mean, they were both big science fiction authors at the time. I'm sure they talked at some point and read some of each other's stuff.
Not surprise me.
But
Okay.
I think
Get
you
some
would
rest,
enjoy it.
dude.
All right, on that note,
I think somebody's sleepy.
thank you guys for coming. Thank you, chat, for tuning in. And for anyone
We should
watching
do
the
one
VOD later.
your morning time next time, so you're a little more awake, you know?
Not a bad idea. It's harder with watch-alongs. It's easier to do watch-alongs with the kids in bed. But for other streams, yeah, if it's just me, then I can just lock myself in the office for a little bit.
Just yap for a bit.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
All right, let's see if there's anybody to redirect to.